Hello there, everybody, and welcome to episode 70 of the Play to Win podcast. My name is Tyler. I'm your host this week, and I'm joined as always by my awesome, amazing, fantastic, marvelous co-host, Keiran. How are you doing today? How are you doing this week? Actually, I should say.
I'm doing pretty good. Still busy with like renovation stuff, but it's been a little lighter this week, so my legs don't hurt as much, so that's always good.
You like renovations have seemingly taken over your life now. I feel like if you wanted, you could probably get in touch with like Discovery or whatever channel it is that has like all the like HGTV, get in touch with them and be like, hey, you guys want to like film a show about my life for like the next couple weeks or months or however long? Like, you want to do that? Make me some money while I do this, please, and thank you. Like, I think it'd be pretty entertaining.
Yeah, you could call it like slapdash DIY or something like that.
Honest, that's not a bad name. I mean, I don't really watch HGTV, so I don't know about the names of the different shows and stuff. But like, I don't think that's a bad name. Slapdash DIY home renovations.
Yeah,
that's not that bad.
Yeah, where everything's done good enough.
We do it to the best of our ability.
Yeah.
Maybe get the Property Brothers to come on the show, help out maybe once or twice, as like guest stars.
I have binge watched Property Brothers so much recently.
So look, you already kind of have an idea about who they are, what they're like. Yeah. You could be like, hey, I love their show. It'd mean a lot to me if they could like guest on an episode, help us out, just have some fun with us. That'd be great. You have the in. You have a bit of an in right here.
Yeah, a little bit. If you want to know an interesting piece of information I learned this week, I forget which Property Brother it is, but one of them is dating Zooey Deschanel.
I did not know that. Now
Neither
I know.
Did I?
Huh, interesting.
There's your random nonsensical piece of information for the week from Keiran.
Random nonsensical piece of information from you this week. Yep. I don't know if we get one from you each week. Maybe we do. I don't keep track of it.
Neither do I.
I mean, I feel like we've gotten one. We definitely have gotten one on episodes before. Like, here or there, we do get some. But I don't know if I'd say it's like this week for Keiran's nonsensical piece of random information. He has this to deliver to us. Keiran, what do you got to say?
Sharks will only attack you when you're wet.
We got two pieces this week. Fantastic. Great way to start the episode of the Play to Win podcast, the show we break down the week's biggest gaming news through in-depth discussion. If you're on YouTube, subscribe and hit that notification bell. It means a whole lot to us. On podcast services, also make sure you subscribe. 5-star reviews, likes, comments, and shares, all of that, super appreciated, super helpful, means the world to myself, to Keiran. So please go ahead and do those things. It's really greatly appreciated. It's awesome, and you guys are awesome for doing it. Yep. This week, we're going to be talking about a couple things. We'll be talking about some outside company interest in Ubisoft and Square Enix. We'll talk about that briefly. Sony and Xbox got kind of throwing words back and forth on the Activision Blizzard acquisition, which kind of started a bit of discourse this week. We'll talk about that some. We have a little bit of a fun game to play as well this week. I think it'll be fun. It'll be interesting to see how Keiran fares during this game.
Yeah.
Before we talk about any of that, though, we have some new Pokemon Scarlet and Violet details to go over on this episode of the podcast. And Keiran, after we saw this new, and got this new reveal, new set of information for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, I walked away and said, you know what? I think I'm going to be getting Pokemon Scarlet and Violet this year. I think I will.
I watched it and I'm like, you know what? I think I'm going to be getting Pokemon Violet.
Yeah, there we go. This week we had a Pokemon Direct, 20 minutes long, that the first half talked about a number of things. It talked about like the Pokemon card game, Pokemon Unite, Pokemon Go, Pokemon Masters EX, like a Pokemon Cafe. Talked about each of those like real briefly. But the main meat and potatoes, the main thing everyone was watching Pokemon Direct for was more information on the new generation of Pokemon that's coming this year, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. And got a nice 10-minute chunk of information on this game in the form of a new trailer and then a lengthier like overview trailer that kind of broke down different things that we saw in the shorter like 2.5 minute trailer. We got things such as the name of the region. We now know there's multiple storylines. We now know the new gimmick kind of going on in this game, similar to how, Sword of Shield had the Dynamax. Previous games had the Mega Evolutions, the Z moves. We know what the new gimmick is this time. We learned a bit more about what we can do with our legendary Pokemon in this game, and it's all pretty exciting. I'm not gonna lie. I'm actually pretty amazed that I walked away from this saying, "Wow." I was already like, I was interested in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet before we saw this, right? Like I had my hopes high for it. And then after this, like some questions still haven't been entirely answered, but I was actually still more excited than I thought it was going to be afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, I've said numerous times I'm not like the biggest Pokemon person. Like I enjoy it to an extent, but after watching it, I was like, you know what? Violet's looking real tempting. Like, might have to pick that up.
Yeah, and I'm torn as to whether I want to get like Scarlet or Violet. For a very specific reason now at this point in time. We'll get into that in a bit. First, let's talk about the region. As I said, we now know the name of the region that Scarlet and Violet takes place in. It is called the Paldea region. And taking this directly from the Pokemon website, where they kind of, give their description of the Paldea region. They say here, your adventure takes place in the Paldea region, a land of vast open spaces dotted with lakes, towering peaks, wastelands, and perilous mountain ranges. Along the way, all sorts of trainers will be adventuring and honing their skills with Pokemon battles. You can find lots of people and Pokemon living together in a variety of locations, ranging from a farming village with bountiful harvest to a port town with a bustling marketplace. There are also Pokemon living in treetops, rivers, and all sorts of other locations of the wilderness, and they're all just waiting to meet you. Now, I got like after when we saw the trailer, the first thing I noticed, at least the first thing that I seemingly noticed, was the game to me, to my eye, visually looked better than the last time we saw it. I mean, it's to be expected, game development goes on, game looks better. But I think like seeing, just more Pokemon in the world than we saw in the last trailer made me like a bit like got me a bit excited, like, ooh, okay, the world's looking a bit more lively. And then seeing just the different varieties of places in the world. And then there's a picture of the actual like the map of the Paldea region. And when you look at that map of the world, the region, and you see like the different areas, environments, and towns and stuff, it just, I don't know, something about it this time around, it's hitting me in a way where I'm like, this looks awesome. This looks really cool and really fun. And I'm actually very excited to explore this region. Like potentially more excited than I've been in a very long time.
Yeah, so I hadn't actually seen the map before, but I'm looking at it just now and like this looks like an art piece you could hang on your wall. Like if you're into like
Right.
Pokemon. But like yeah, this looks very varied. It looks massive, and it makes me a little bit more excited to play Pokemon.
Right. Especially because it's an open world. They're saying
Yeah.
it's an open world. You can explore at your own pace, as at like in whatever order you want to explore it in. Uh and I'm super excited about that, being able to just go around this world and just see everything it has for me. Uh so that's like the first bit of my excitement for it. The next bit comes from the fact that they say Pokemon Scarlet and Violet has three main storylines for you to go throughout your adventure. So the main scenario for this game has you as a student enrolling in an academy and participating in an independent study that's called the Treasure Hunt. And the Treasure Hunt tasks you to find treasure of your own. That's like your main scenario for the game. That's the basic premise. Each Scarlet and Violet, each version, the name of the school that you go to, it has a different name. Your professor is a different professor, as we already said. Your uniform, the color of your school is different based on the game that you have, whether you have Scarlet or Violet. So for the three storylines, one of those storylines is your traditional Pokemon battle all the 8 gym leaders and become like the battle, the gym champion, at the end of the day. That's one of the storylines. And they reiterated again that you can tackle all 8 of these gyms in whatever order you choose to. And we saw, I believe they showed us, they definitely highlighted one gym leader. I think they might have showed 2 or 3 though. But one of the gym leaders is, we saw the ice gym leader. I forgot their name. I believe it's Garush, I believe. They look cool. I like their design, and it's like their region, their environment, and all like that. What these other 2 stories are is unknown as of right now. We don't know what the other 2 storylines are, but they did say that you can progress through any of these stories at any point in time, however you choose. So you can do like 2 gym battles, and then 2 gym missions and all. You can advance the gym quest, the gym storyline by doing 2 of the gyms. And then, like, if you want to go bounce over to story number 3, you can go over to story number 3 and do some with that. Then go to story number 2 and do some of that, so on and so forth. That's what they're positing the the storyline progression as. Again, we still have yet to see, or yet to get more specific details about how that will actually work in practice. Because I think, again, the one concern I still have with this is how, if we could do any of the gym battles in whatever order we want to, how is the level scaling going to be? Like,
Yeah.
are the gyms literally going to scale with whatever level you are when you get to them? Is the story itself going to scale to whatever level you're at, at whatever point you're at in each of these storylines? Or is it going to be a thing where you can do any of the 3 storylines, but say, for example, you reach like major event number 2 and you finish the second gym battle, right? And you're level, let's say, 15. And then you're like, all right, I want to do more, but like the next thing is kind of like a bit high level for me. So maybe I'll go over to the second storyline, and the second storyline, I get to a major event there, and then that like the next bit for that is like, oh, level 30 something. So I need to level up a bit more before I could continue that. You get what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
wonder if the storylines themselves will kind of gate you at certain level points, although you're able to bounce between them at will, or if it's literally like everything just scales to whatever your level is. Like, that's going to be the main question in regards to the freedom in which you have to go through this game.
Yeah, and I mean, I would hope it's the latter, because if it is the former, then like you are going to hit a point where you are kind of locked into what you're doing, which then to me would kind of go against what they're saying of you can do whatever you want at any point. Versus if everything just does scale to your level, that's one going to make it a lot more accessible to a lot more people, and two is going to take, well, I was going to say it was going to take less time, because in my head, if I'm locked out of doing something because I'm not high enough level, I'm gonna have to go and either like do something that is gonna get me up to that level, or I'm gonna have to like grind it like out in the wild.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Right.
I'm interested to see how exactly they're gonna play that.
Right. Uh, as for the 2 other storylines, again, like we said, like there is no official confirmation of what these other 2 are,
Yeah.
but you would imagine that one of them is like the storyline against whatever the evil team is in this game. Like,
Yeah.
every game has an evil team. You would imagine that one of the storylines, it has to do with them. Um, the third story, a bit, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it would be. So I'm just really interested. Like, I'm loving this new main scenario, the main premise behind this game, that you are a student enrolling in school here, and then you get an independent study that's this, and then that's like your impetus to go off into the world, as opposed to, hey, you're a kid in the town, and you go hang out with the Pokemon professor here, and then the Pokemon professor sends you off on your journey. Like, I like this like new just
Yeah.
scenario. It's more interesting and exciting in my eyes. It just more fresh in a way. um and again, just the possibilities, the potential, but between these 3 storylines, being able to go through it at your own leisure, it's interesting and
Yeah.
exciting, and I like that the series, it's taking steps forward, even if they're
Mhm.
like baby incremental steps
Yeah.
for a Pokemon, for sure. I'm happy that we're seeing it take these steps forward nonetheless.
Yeah. Me too.
Now, one of the things that's actually kind of surprising about the game is it has to do with the legendary Pokemon. Normally, the legendary Pokemon are ones that you don't get until like near the end of the game, or basically the end of the game. That's when you get the legendary Pokemon
Yeah.
for whatever version you have. So like, with Ruby and Sapphire, it was Groudon and Kyogre. You wouldn't get them until like basically the end of the game. Now with this one, the legendary Pokemon are Koraidon for Scarlet, Miraidon for Violet, and seemingly you might have them from the beginning of the game, or at least from very early on in the game, because in the trailer, like it shows you using them to traverse the environment a lot. Like it shows you using them on like to traverse the land, to fly in the sky, to swim in the ocean and the sea, basically throughout the entire trailer, throughout all the footage we saw.
Yeah.
So one would think that they wouldn't show you that if that's not something you can do until hour 35 of the game. Like if they're showing it as much as they are, I think it's really implying that they're available from very early on in the game.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that would make the most sense, because why would you have these Pokemon that seem almost essential to getting around
Exactly.
that you don't get until you're like 40 hours in, or however long it is until you get them. Like that just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I will say that like I think the design of the legendary Pokemon while they're in their like motorcycle form, I'm not loving it, but like that's just me. But other than that, I thought it looked great.
Here's the thing. I like their designs. What bugs me a bit is the fact that Koraidon and Scarlet doesn't use the wheels. Koraidon and Scarlet just uses its feet to sprint,
Yeah.
whereas Miraidon in Violet actually uses the throat wheels to be a motorcycle.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, Koraidon, you look stupid. Use your wheels. The wheels are there on you. Use them. Why are you not using them? And that right there is why I'm torn between Scarlet and Violet. I'm like, I want Scarlet because it's red, and Professor Sada is just Professor Sada. She's Bay, but I don't want a stupid legendary who's not going to use its wheels. Like you have the
Yeah.
wheels. Why are you using your feet? It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't at
Yeah.
all. Like
It'd be like
Miraidon just looks so much better. It is actually using the wheels. Like I could do an Akira slide on Miraidon. I probably can't on Koraidon.
yeah.
It's a shame. It's annoying. It's
Yeah.
disappointing to say the least. It's like Koraidon, I expected so much better from you. I expected better.
Yeah, it's essentially like baking a loaf of bread to make a sandwich and then going to the store to buy a loaf of bread.
It's like why would I do this? Why would I do this? It doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense. But nonetheless, I'm still excited. It's still really cool. We'll be able to use
Yeah.
it from the beginning of the game. Because they are, like you said, seeming really integral to just getting around in this
Yeah.
world. It does make me wonder if you'll be able to do the same thing with other Pokemon in the game. I imagine you would be able to, especially with like your water types. I don't know about the lead ones, but I mean, I imagine you'll be able to do it with any Pokemon in the game that is fitting for you to actually ride them.
Yeah.
But they were definitely highlighting the legendaries for sure. So I think we're gonna have this from the beginning of the game. We also they also highlighted a few other Pokemon in the game that we'll be seeing, such as the Paldean version of Wooper, who's normally blue, and this one, the Paldean version, is like a brownish type of color. Like it looks like Wooper got covered in dirt. It just didn't wash itself off,
Yeah.
honestly. We saw it's a Titan, which is like a big ice type, I believe.
Yep.
It's like claw mouth looking creature. Looks pretty cool. Pretty cool. But Fido is just adorable in visuals and also name. It
Yep.
is Fido, spelled Fidough, because it's a dog puppy like Pokemon that looks like it has like buns on its head for like its ears and like the face. It just looks adorable.
Yep.
It looks
absolutely
adorable.
does.
I'm loving these names. We have Fido here. What were the other ones that we had before from last time? What was one of them? Where Lechonk we have.
Oh yeah.
Like I'm loving these names and these creature designs. It's great. It's great stuff. There were also other Pokemon in the trailer that I don't know if they're new to Pokemon. Because again, I did not finish Sword and Shield, so they might have been introduced in that. But I think we saw some brand new ones in this too. So Pokemon wise, it's looking cool. Speaking of Pokemon and what we can do with them, This game has a new gimmick. As I said before, each game recently has had a gimmick, whether it be Z evolutions with Sun and Moon, I believe. The Z form, Z moves, sorry, Z moves with Sun and Moon, I believe is where that got introduced. You had your Mega evolutions in one of them. You had your Dynamax and Sword and Shield. Now, this one has Terra Stylizing. Why it's pronounced in this way is beyond me, but it's called Terra Stylizing. I mean, I believe it's supposed to be a second R in there, but we only got one R. Anyway, Terra Stylizing, it's the new gimmick this way in these games. And basically, any Pokemon can do it, and it makes them shiny and kind of look like a crystal in a sense.
Yeah.
And I really liked the way the Pokemon looked when they were Terra Stylized. Like I saw them, I was like, they look beautiful. And I saw some people on Twitter say, bet money that they're going to be making like statues or like actual like Terra Stylized versions of these Pokemon to sell online for like a stupid amount of money. It's gonna happen. Just the money prints itself. When Pokemon are Terra Stylized though in battle, it gives a boost to their type and it makes their move stronger. Some Pokemon will have their type changed when they're Terra Stylized, and this is determined by what their Terra type is. So we saw an example of Pikachu becoming a flying type. And like when they get Terra Stylized, they have like some type of design over top of their head.
Yeah.
So Pikachu, when he was the flying type, he had like balloons. Like Sprigatito, the grass starter, had like flowers on top of it. Fuecoco, the fire starter in this game, had like a candle on it. And then Quaxley, the water starter in this game, had like a little fountain or sprinkler on top of its head. And then they also gave the example of like Eevee being a grass or a water type when it Terra Stylizes. Again, based on what the Terra type is. What do you think of Terra Stylizing? I know you don't really play Pokemon games, so you don't really have much of an opinion as to like the gimmicks and previous titles and all like that. And I can't really speak too much myself because I didn't play any of the ones that had the Z moves or the Mega evolutions, and I only played a bit of Sword and Shield, so I have like barely an opinion on Dynamaxing in that game. Although I will say Dynamaxing was a bit disappointing because you could only do it in the gym battles. Like you couldn't do it whenever you wanted to. So that was a bit disappointing. But what do you think of Terra Stylizing? Just based off what you've seen, what you've heard, what they're saying.
I think it was cool. Like you said, I really, really like the designs of the Pokemon when they are like in their crystal form or Terra Stylized, whatever you want to call it. But I'm interested to see how that is going to affect my playstyle when I play it, because how much of a power increase is it going to give me, or how different are those Pokemon going to play if their types change?
Right. Like, do they have a whole new move set with their
Yeah.
type changes and stuff? It'll be interesting to see. These are details that we don't know specifics of yet, but I think it's cool. Like you said, I think it's interesting, and it does offer some interesting possibilities when it comes to battles and everything. And raids will also return in this game from Sword and Shield, but they're going to be Terra raid battles. So you'll be going up against a rare Terra type Pokemon with 3 other people. And unlike in Sword and Shield, you'll be able to attack or heal each other like whenever you want to. So you don't have to wait your turn to do it again. Like as soon as you're able to, you can do it. You know, like I'm assuming it'll be similar to like the ATB system in Final Fantasy or whatever. Like you do a move and then you have to wait like maybe a few seconds and then you could do another move, probably like that. But it looks cool. It looks fun. And then after you beat the Terra type Pokemon in the raid, you have a chance to catch it, make it your own. All in all, I'm actually pretty excited for this game. There are still concerns, specifically regarding the story, the open world, how it's going to be working and being implemented and executed on. But, and also, I guess with the battle system as well, like it is disappointing still that it's not more like Legends Arceus. In my opinion, I think it is. Like it does seem like a step back from what that game presented with its battle system. Nonetheless, though, I've it's one of those things that you make your peace with. It is what it is. Nonetheless, I'm still pretty excited for this game. I'm feeling very confident that I'm going to get it, and I'm hoping that I actually stick through it, unlike Sword and Shield.
Same. I mean, I think it was Shield, but I honestly can't remember. But I think I played like maybe 50% of that game and then just fell off it because again,
more than me.
like not the biggest Pokemon person, and eventually I was just like, I'm just getting a little bored with this. But it seems like some of the things they're doing in Scarlet and Violet will kind of combat that, maybe.
Yeah, I'm hoping it reinvigorates my love for Pokemon. I was hoping Shield was going to do that for me, and it kind of didn't. So, and then Legends Arceus did. I just haven't gotten the game yet. Legends Arceus seems like really cool and different and innovative for the series.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that this, combined with the promise of Legends Arceus earlier in the year, will fully reinvigorate my love for this series and actually get me back into Pokemon. Like, yeah, we're doing it. We're in it. We're doing this thing, guys. We'll have to wait to find out, but I'm into it. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited for it.
Yep. November 18th, I will maybe be picking up Violet.
I'm probably not going to be there day one. I'll tell you this much. God of War is 9 days before that. God of War takes priority.
Never mind.
God of War takes priority. I will not be there day one. It might be a holiday game for me. I will tell you all that much right now.
Yep, I may have slightly forgotten that God of War was very soon before. So nope, never mind. Cancel that.
Yeah, I'll probably get it. It's not day one. Not a day one.
Same.
Let's move over to Sony and Xbox now. You know, Xbox, they made a big purchase earlier this year. They acquired, well, they didn't fully acquire, but they announced their intent to acquire Activision Blizzard for what, 69 point some odd billion dollars, a crazy amount of money.
Like that.
Totally threw the games industry upside down.
Yep.
Sets them out to Bel Air and everything. Like, it's crazy. We don't know how to live with ourselves now. The industry has been shaken. Of course, Sony has always been like, whoa.
Yeah.
What do you mean you're doing that? Hold on. What does this mean for us now? Understandably so.
Yeah.
So we had a bit of words being tossed back and forth in regards to this Activision Blizzard acquisition by both Sony and Microsoft this week. In an effort to push this acquisition forward, Microsoft has claimed that there is, quote, nothing unique about the video games developed and published, end quote, by Activision. And that none of Activision's games are, quote, must-haves. Yeah, I know. It's just like, really now? Sony has countered this point with their answer to questions from the Brazilian government on the acquisition by emphasizing just how important Call of Duty is. I'm going to read the quote here. They say, quote, according to a 2019 study, the importance of Call of Duty to entertainment in general is indescribable. The brand was the only video game IP to break into the top 10 of all entertainment brands among fans, joining powerhouses such as Star Wars, Game of Thrones, Harry Potter, and Lord of the Rings. Call of Duty is so popular that it influences users' choice of console, and its community of loyal users is entrenched enough that even if a competitor had the budget to develop a similar product, it would not be able to rival it, end quote. Now, this statement right here, both statements kind of started up like a bit of discourse, but this one specifically started up a real discourse of like, Sony's being a hypocrite, so on and so forth. So I want to ask the question, in all honesty, all cards on the table, how important is Call of Duty? Like, is Sony wrong in their assessment? Are they right? Is Microsoft being like just like super downplaying? Like, is Microsoft wrong with them saying that Activision's games, they're like, there's nothing unique about them, that they're not must-haves? Like, what do we think?
I mean, okay. One, I think it's outrageous for Microsoft to say that there's nothing unique about Call of Duty and it's not a must-have game, considering that how many months of the year does Call of Duty sell at least in the top 10?
Many, if not
pretty
all
12. Pretty much all of them, right? And when a Call of Duty game releases, that is one, guaranteed to be the number one selling game that month. Like, without fail. And two, is going to be played by millions of people who have been like waiting for that game the entire year. So to say that Call of Duty is not a must-have game, that is a straight up lie.
Yeah.
But
go ahead, finish your point.
I was just going to say, but on the side of like Sony's response, like I do agree with them that I don't think that even if somebody were to create a similar game to Call of Duty, that it would be able to rival Call of Duty, right? Because
It can't.
yeah, exactly. Like Call of Duty has been out since what, 2001? No,
No, 2002 or 2004, around
yeah,
then. It's one of those two.
okay,
No, around it's somewhere around there. Anywhere from
yeah,
2002 to 2004 is when the first one came out.
early 2000s, right? Call of Duty has been around since the early 2000s. It is a very well established brand and IP. And like Sony says here, somewhere, or in a quote from here from somebody, it says that like they have an entrenched community within the video game industry. That is a fact. Like I say,
Mm-hmm.
there are millions of people who wait for this specific game every year.
Yep.
So again, even if Sony were to come up with like I was trying to come up with like a familiar, like a similar name to Call of Duty, but it's not happening. But like even if Sony were to come up with
Call
something
to
like that,
battle.
yeah, Call to Battle. If Sony were to release Call to Battle, then it wouldn't do as well as Call of Duty.
Right. I mean, like you have your competitor right in front of you with Battlefield.
Yeah,
Battlefield had like I would say since Battlefield 3 specifically, Battlefield and EA have tried to directly compete with Call of Duty. But every time
and failed.
Call of Duty still comes out on top.
Yep.
Like fans might prefer one over the other, but like Call of Duty still comes out on top. Battlefield is not able to take down Call of Duty. You could look at Halo. Halo, I think, is like the next best in terms of like
Yeah,
just first mainstream, like mainstream first person shooters
yeah,
that could compete with it that have been around for a long time. Halo is an icon in the series in gaming industry. It's a legend, but even Halo cannot
nope,
compete like with Call of Duty at this day and age. The only things that can compete with Call of Duty are Apex and Fortnite. And even then, that's only in the battle royale space. And
yep,
even still, Call of Duty is just a dominant force in the industry
yep,
because of how long it's been around. Like, just period. So I completely think that Sony's not wrong in that statement. Like
no, they're not.
no one could like if a first party made their own first person shooter that was similar to Call of Duty, like if their own first person shooter to try and get into that field, that space, they're gonna have to work real hard to have it like be on a level that can compete with Call of Duty. It's just gonna be near
Yeah,
impossible. The only game that can even potentially compete with Call of Duty in terms of like its dominance in the industry, as we've stated before, is probably GTA. That's the
yeah,
only game, and that's not a
probably,
first
yeah,
person shooter. Like it's in terms of like moving, influencing people's
yeah,
console of choice, what they're going to play on, what they're going to do. That is the only thing that could do it. Like Fortnite, for as influential as it is, it's free to play. It's everywhere. That's not going to influence,
no,
what people play on, how they do it, so on and so forth. It's crossplay too. GTA could do that. No other first person shooter can. So they're not wrong there. And I also do think, like you said before, I was going to say, when Microsoft says there's nothing unique or like nothing must have about Activision Blizzard's games, I don't think that they are wrong when they say there's nothing unique. And to an extent, when you look at
yeah,
Call of Duty, there's nothing inherently unique about
no,
Call of Duty. I guess the one unique thing you could say is the feel of the gunplay and the fact they have that 60 FPS. They always shoot and aim and for that locked 60 FPS experience
yeah,
and that tight feeling gunplay. I guess you could say that's unique, but nothing else about Call of Duty inherently is unique. There are so many other first person shooters out there that can give you that first person shooter experience that feels good and all. They just don't feel like Call of Duty does. Um, Now, if you want to look outside of Call of Duty, it becomes a bit more muddy because then you get to Overwatch, which arguably started off and kicked off the hero shooter bonanza and all
yeah,
on in the gaming space. If you want to look to World of Warcraft with MMOs and all, there's that side of things. There's Diablo with the the loot action adventure type game. Like there's outside of Call of Duty, it does get a bit muddier when you talk about things being unique about their games that they develop and publish. But strictly Call of Duty, there's nothing, I don't think there's anything unique about it. Though, but each of their games, they are must-have games. They're like Call of Duty, Overwatch, Overwatch to an extent. But World of Warcraft, like Blizzard games, when they announce one of those and they drop, people like pay attention. They're like, whoa, a new one of those is coming. Even if Blizzard's reputation has been a bit in recent years and the output has been a bit and had fans a bit trepidatious and all, their games are still ones where when they announce a game, all eyes are on that game. And those games are ones that people say, I want to play that. Part of it's because of the Blizzard legacy. They're hoping that they're looking back on the legacy of Blizzard and what it was before. They want the game to live up to that and all. So like there are some holes in Microsoft's case here, but it's like they're not totally wrong, but they're not totally right.
Yeah.
And it makes sense that they're saying these things that the way that they are to try and be like, no, they're just games. They're not must-have games. You can get by without these games. You can do that. These games aren't unique in a way just to try to get their acquisition to continue to go forward. And it makes sense what Sony is saying to try and be like, their Call of Duty's huge, and Call of Duty will move people. Like they're not totally wrong when they say that.
No, because they are definitely correct in saying that Call of Duty is so popular that it influences users' choice of console. Because again, I've said this a few times now, like there are millions of people who wait specifically for this game every year. And if this game suddenly became exclusive to one platform, people would go out and buy that platform to play Call of Duty because that is some people's only game they ever play. Like, regardless of whether it's Warzone or the actual Call of Duty that you go out and buy, that is the only thing that some people play. So it would absolutely influence their choice in console. Now, to counter that, I am standing true on my argument that there is absolutely no way that Microsoft is going to make Call of Duty exclusive to Xbox. Because like it leaves to, I'm not going to get super into that because that's not the topic of this conversation, but it would leave too much money on the table and it would upset too many people for Microsoft to do that. They are definitely going to offer Xbox exclusive things. Like, the game might, run better on Xbox, or you might get a 120 FPS mode on Xbox, or you might have...
that's already on PlayStation, the 120 hertz.
Yeah.
They're not going to remove a feature like that from PlayStation. That would be silly.
No. I mean in future games.
Well, what I'm saying is that is already in current games. They're not going to remove that from PlayStation for future games because that just burns bridges in your community.
Yeah, maybe.
That does.
I don't know.
They would never do that.
Perhaps not, but yeah, they're not making it exclusive in my opinion. There's no way.
I agree. I don't know.
I don't see it happen.
I don't know. Now you say that you don't think that they would make it exclusive, but the thing is that as of right now, like they're contracted for the next, I believe, 3 games, including Modern Warfare.
Oh, I thought it was 2 years.
If not 2 years, it's 3. It's either 2 years, 3 years, or 3 games. One of the two. Point is, they're contracted to have Modern Warfare 2 on all platforms, and then Treyarch's next game on all platforms. Like they're contracted for that. After that, they could easily say, and Xbox only. They could do it after that if they wanted to. They could be saying, yeah, we have no intention to take it away because we're supposed to put it everywhere. We kind of have to by contract. That could be the mentality. That has not been explained or clarified. They haven't said Call of Duty will never leave other platforms. No. They've never said that. So I mean, the door, I'm not saying that the door is completely closed, but the door is slightly open. The door, like they've been doing their best to assuage people's fears and worries. But the door is still slightly open for them to say, in a bit though, we'll keep it multi-platform for now. But once the dust has really settled and everything, Call of Duty is going to come in here. We're going to close the door, lock it, change the locks, and all that stuff. You guys, Yeah, the only way you could get in is through the Game Pass door around the back. That's the only way you could get on in here.
Like I'm also not saying that like I have some insider knowledge that is confirmed they're not going to make Call of Duty exclusive. I just think that it would leave too much money on the table. It would upset too many people. And one of the things I think that is going to be a large factor in like somebody blocking their deal is you have to put Call of Duty on every platform, because it would give Microsoft too much of an advantage if they made Call of Duty exclusive to Xbox permanently, forever, locked door. But one thing that they will absolutely do, and will be a big benefit to Xbox users, and will potentially not maybe change a user's mind on a platform, but will what's the word I'm looking for? Will make them go out, like influence them to go out and buy an Xbox, is it will be on Game Pass day one. You will get
that level alone.
Yeah, you will get Call of Duty included in your Game Pass subscription. So essentially, like the argument I always make is like when I say that like at most Game Pass games you play for free, and everyone's like, oh, but you still pay for the service. I'm like, well, no, because once I play one game, it's essentially paid for itself. So I would argue that you would be paying, like the Game Pass would then pay for itself most months because of the amount you are playing Call of Duty.
Yeah, if again that comes down to how much you use Game Pass, and if you're in Call of Duty and stuff like that. There's the trickle down effect of all that too. But end of the day, we can't deny how important Call of Duty is.
Oh no, of course
it's not. It's silly to deny that. And like I guess like I've seen people make arguments of like how Sony's hypocritical for like what they're saying here. And like to an extent, I can buy that. But at the end of the day, I don't think that it's like a full hypocrisy, a fully hypocritical statement on Sony's end to say this about Call of Duty and exclusivity and how important it is and so on and so forth. I don't think it's completely hypocritical. But I think we'll leave it there, because we've talked about this kind of topic of Call of Duty exclusivity on PlayStation and Xbox. We talked about it a whole lot in the past, and I don't want to stick on it for too long, as we'll just be talking in circles, reiterating points that we've stated many times before on past episodes.
Can I chime in with just one last thing? If you want to, if you want to know how important Call of, I just Googled best-selling game 2021, Call of Duty Vanguard. Best-selling game 2020, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. Best-selling game 2019, Call of Duty Modern Warfare. If there's any argument as to be like how important of Call of Duty, just look at the best-selling game every year.
This year it might change. This year it might be Elden Ring.
I don't know, because it's Modern Warfare 2, and that's why I said everyone is waiting for. Yeah,
that's why I said it might be. If it's not Call of Duty, if it's not Modern Warfare 2, it's Elden Ring this year. Almost 100%. Certainly. Oh boy. All right. We got a couple more business things to talk about real briefly. I'm going to try and keep these brief, because I don't think I have much to say about them. No. I don't think Keiran will have too much to say about them, but they are interesting nonetheless. The first of which being that Tencent is planning to become Ubisoft's biggest shareholder. This is coming from Reuters, however you pronounce the website. According to them, Tencent is looking to increase its stake in Ubisoft. Currently, they have a 5% stake in the company. And the Guillemot family, which owns Ubisoft, they have a 15% stake in the company. So it's unknown as of right now just how big an increase Tencent is intending to make in their ownership stake of the company. But the IGN article that I kind of read this news from, who I believe it's written by, I was wrong. It's written by Ryan Leston. In the piece, he does note that although it's not known how much of Ubisoft and Tencent intends to purchase, recently Ubisoft was kind of, the reports that people were looking at them to acquire them. And then Ubisoft was kind of like saying, we're not going to close the door. Like, we'll obviously like look at options and offers and all, but we don't have to think about it. So like with that in mind, its potential, is it possible that Tencent is going to try to buy more stake to say like 16% stake to have more than the Guillemot family? Yeah. Like, is that a possibility? Do we think that'll happen? Do we think that's what they're going to go for? Do you think that's something that could happen? Does that concern you?
Um, I mean, I don't know if it concerns me necessarily because Ubisoft is like for the past like number of years has been on like a downward slope, right? Like where they
Uh-huh.
started really great and they've just been getting worse and worse and worse. So like I don't they need help from somewhere. They need something to stay afloat because if they continue on the trajectory they're on now, then I can see Ubisoft either like selling entirely or just shutting down. But I mean, I don't know enough about Tencent to give an opinion as to whether this is a good or bad thing. All I know is that Ubisoft definitely needs some help, and if Tencent can offer that, then I'm for it because I don't want to see Ubisoft go like this. I want them to see go like this.
See, I don't know too much about Tencent either, but what I do understand is that Tencent is not a company that you should be happy or jumping for
Okay.
joy for if they are interested in buying you. If they are interested in buying a company that you like, I should say.
Okay.
Because they are owned, if I'm they're either owned or like directly connected to the Chinese government. Um,
Ah,
so they're like, that's a major cause for concern and all. So
yeah,
there are different reasons to be concerned about Tencent owning only majority stake in Ubisoft, given how big Ubisoft is as a publisher, and like the type of influence that they could then have over Ubisoft and the games that they make and what goes into their games, so on and so forth.
yeah.
So then it's not the best news. No one's particularly
Yep.
happy about this. Like that's the thing.
Okay.
Whenever there's talk about big publisher acquisitions and all, people say, okay, the of course the options out there are going to be like Facebook and the Apples and the Googles and the Amazons and the Tencents. We don't want any of those. We don't want Microsoft or Sony to do it either. But like we certainly prefer that over any of the other ones.
Yeah.
So not again, I don't know too much about Tencent, but I know that this is not great news.
Okay. Yeah. After hearing that, slightly less enthusiastic about this potential situation.
Yeah, it's not the greatest news. Sticking, we're going to talk about Tencent a little bit more in a moment here because right now we're going to shift over to Square Enix, who is reportedly looking to sell off more of their stakes in some of their remaining studios that they have. Now, I'm just going to read this article straight from IGN by Joe Screbbles here because he kind of gives a nice nice breakdown of the situation here. So I'm just going to read this off. He says here, Square Enix is reportedly looking to sell off stakes in some of its wholly owned development studios and has said that Crystal Dynamics and Eidos Montreal were sold because they cannibalized from the wider group. Reported by games industry analyst David Gibson out of Square Enix's latest earnings call, the publisher reportedly sees the unexpected sale of Crystal Dynamics, Eidos Montreal, or Square Enix Montreal as phase one of its changes to the business. Phase two will apparently see Square Enix reviewing its portfolio of owned studios, deciding whether to retain full ownership or allow other companies to buy stakes in those businesses. Per Gibson, the benefit of this would be to allow Square Enix to move resources around between studios more easily, with the view apparently towards being able to allocate, quote, resources mainly to Japan titles, end quote. Gibson expects the likes of Sony, Tencent, and Nexon to be interested in purchasing pieces of Square Enix's studios, and management once again expressed interest in acquiring new developers to increase its portfolio. The call reportedly also saw Square Enix explain that it made the decision to sell off its high-profile Western developers because the likes of Crystal Dynamics cannibalized from the rest of the group, seemingly making resources harder to allocate across the whole development portfolio, presumably due to high development costs on the likes of Marvel's Avengers. And then they have here Square Enix's remaining development studios include its 4 creative business units, which make the likes of Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts, and the recent HD 2D line of games, Luminous Productions, which is doing Forspoken, Tokyo RPG Factory, which made I Am Setsuna, Square Enix London Mobile, which did Tomb Raider Reloaded, and more. So, with all that in mind, first up, I want to say that I just want to add a clarification that I saw on Twitter as well. in regards to the statement of Crystal Dynamics and the other Western studios like cannibalizing from the rest of Square Enix's developers. Uh, I saw people were like confused by that statement. I saw a clarification when they say that they mean that so much money, and
Yeah.
we kind of talked about this when Square Enix sold the company to studios as well. So much money went into those studios for their games, but not enough money came back in from them, meaning that there wasn't enough money. Well, they weren't getting as much money to, share around the pot of all the developers.
Yeah.
So it made sense. Like, all right, we'll sell them that way. We have more money for our other teams, and we're not just like pouring in 500 million and getting back 100 million. I just pull numbers out of thin air on that, which makes sense. Now, when it comes to potentially selling off stakes of their remaining studios to other companies, what do you think of that? Because that's a bit interesting. That's a bit surprising. I didn't think Square Enix would have done that. I would have figured that they wanted to keep complete ownership over all their studios. And again, they're saying that like, they're deciding whether they want to keep full ownership or let other companies buy stakes. But I'm surprised that they're even considering that second option.
Yeah, and I think the main thing with that is you need to make sure that you don't eventually have like a conflict of interest between studios, right? So say, just as an example that I can think of off the top of my head, say Sony invests in the studio that makes Kingdom Hearts, and Xbox, for example, invests in the studio that makes Final Fantasy. Then both of them need more money at the same time. So which does Square give them more money to? Because then you could see that as like, oh, well, Square has a long history with PlayStation, and if they give it to them, it could be seen as like playing favorites. Or if they give it to Microsoft, then PlayStation could see that as like a like conflict of interest of sorts. So I think
that's betrayal of trust.
Yeah, exactly.
You're cheating on me. How could you?
That's probably a better one actually. But so that's number one that you have to watch out for, and two, you also then have to watch out for being allowed to creatively do the things you want to do without an outside party saying, actually, no, we don't like that. You're going to do it this way. If, again, just for instance, like we said, or like you said a few minutes ago with Tencent looking to buy stuff in Ubisoft, if Tencent bought, stakes in the company that's making the studio that's making Final Fantasy, and the team that's making Final Fantasy want to do one thing, Tencent are like, actually, that goes against what we want to do, so no.
So then assuming that they had like majority stake.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, like those are my two main concerns with them selling off like stakes rather than selling off like the studios as a whole, or having full control and being able to say, we decide what we do, we decide where the money goes, whatever. But I'm not like overly thrilled about them selling off stuff, because like I as much as I haven't played like huge amounts of Square Enix games, like the ones I have played, I have enjoyed, and I would want them to continue making games the way they are now.
Yeah, I want them to retain full ownership. I don't want them to, have other companies start like mixing into having a too many cooks in the kitchen type situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we're gonna say we're gonna buy on in and buy on in and buy on in, because then that it does start to raise issues and all. It could start to raise issues. I before we move on from this topic, I do want to say, does beg the question again at this point: if Sony's interested, do you think this starts to lead more towards the door of Sony just acquiring Square entirely, or what do you think? Now, again, I don't want that to happen.
Yeah,
but there's been all the rumors and everything. Do you think this leads more credence to that rumor, or leads more credence to it actually being a possibility, something that will happen?
Yeah, I mean, it could. Like, if you get far enough down the line and Sony has so much money invested in Square, still looking to, sell off more, then Sony could just be like, well, actually, we'll just buy you, rather than like all these other companies putting their hats on the hat rack. Then we'll just take away the hat rack and just have our hat. So
we'll take it away. That way no one can do it.
Yeah.
We're the only ones that are allowed to put our hats on here.
So it's like it could. I don't think it would like deter it. I also think it might make it a bit easier for Sony to buy them, because you'd be like investing money like a little at a time and then being like it's almost as if like putting down deposits, right? Where you're investing a little
Hmm.
in this studio, investing a little in this studio, then later down the line you're like, actually, we'll just take those deposits back and we'll just buy you.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the door is open. I don't want
Yeah.
it to happen, but I I think Square is in an interesting position financially where like again, like I think even more than Ubisoft, they could use the help. Uh
Yeah.
so I think this is them really trying to be like, hey, we can use help. Who wants to help us out?
Yeah.
Who wants to help us? Um I just hope that Square Enix is I hope they're able to stay afloat, keep things going, keep things thriving over there
Yeah.
because I like the company. Even if they make bizarre decisions sometimes, cough cough NFTs. Uh,
Yeah,
I
that
gotta like them.
that'd be one benefit of being bought. Just kill the NFT program.
Well, give me a second on that one. Let's go to our brief mentions real quick because that's where this comes in. That was the end of our main news stories. We had our brief mentions.
Yeah.
We're gonna play our little game here. First brief mention: Tactics Ogre Reborn has been officially announced and will release on November 11th, 2022 for PS4, PS5, and Switch. This is a tactics RPG. It's a remaster of an older one. It is a Square game, and if I'm correct, there are only two more Square Enix games left from the Nvidia leak that have yet to be officially announced. That
Hmm.
being Final Fantasy Tactics Remastered and Final Fantasy IX Remake. Everything else has been announced, including Tactics Ogre Reborn. Just lay it on us at this point, Square. Lay it on us.
Yeah.
After a little over a month, Twitch streamer Jervalin has completed the Halo 2 Lasso Deathless Challenge that was put forth by content creator Moist Critical, earning himself $20,000.
Nice.
For those who don't know, the Lasso Challenge is legendary, all skulls on, except for Envy, because Envy makes you invisible and it makes the game easier. All the other skulls make the game harder.
Yep.
So get through Halo 2, legendary, all skulls on, except for Envy, without dying. And the challenge had to be streamed. You couldn't record your own video and then submit it. It had to be
Yeah.
streamed to prove it was actually authentic for real happening. And yeah, Critical, I watched Critical and everything. And he had put the challenge out back in like June-ish, I
Oh,
think it was
damn.
around then. Yeah, it was around June she put it out. And originally the bounty was like $5,000, but the time went on and no one was able to beat it, so he upped it to 20K. And earlier this week, Jervalin finished it. Jervalin did it.
Good job.
And like it made it to like other outlets were like making articles about the challenge before it was completed. And then when it finished, 343, like people over at 343 and Xbox like, yeah, good job, good job. And the Halo Twitter page, they posted a piece of art of Master Chief with the energy source standing on a bunch of skulls. In the background, it says Jervalin's name like 3 times, like
Oh, that's awesome.
immortalizing it. Like that's so. I saw some people in the replies saying, "This is awesome. You all gotta like immortalize him in like the next Halo game or in Halo some way, shape,
That'd
or
be cool.
form." Because that's awesome. Like it has never been done before. This challenge has never really been
Yeah.
completed before. It's kind of been seen as a super impossible challenge. So good on him. And like people could use glitches to get through the game. So like any in-game glitches you could use, but like no cheats were allowed to complete
Yeah.
the run. So it happened. It's done. Congratulations to Javralin. That is awesome.
Yep.
PlayStation. They sent out a survey on NFTs to Evo attendees, asking them what kind of NFTs / digital collectibles they would be interested in. This kind of had some people wondering, what do you mean? You just talked about PlayStation Stars not having them. And what's this going on?
Yeah.
Daniel Lamad on Twitter, industry analyst and all, he jumped in. He said, no, this has nothing to do with PlayStation Stars. And that the terms NFTs and digital collectibles are like commonly used interchangeably. So it does leave Sony's stance on NFTs in the air. Like this may not be them actually talking about NFTs. It could just mean digital collectibles, but maybe they are surveying people's interest in NFTs for real.
Yeah.
So if they did acquire Square Enix, maybe they wouldn't be totally against NFTs.
Yeah, maybe not.
We still don't know. We don't know. Beyond Good and Evil 2, that game that was announced super long ago and then disappeared off the face of the earth, then came back to life in 2017 and disappeared off the face of the earth again, has hired Sarah Arellano as the game's lead writer. She was previously a narrative designer at Blizzard for World of Warcraft and over at Volition as well. Volition makes the Saints Row games. So, bit of progress, bit of an update on it.
Yeah,
Not
like
much of one though.
I'm real worried about this game if they're still hiring like a lead writer like
I
this far in development.
We will see this game when we see it again. If
Yeah.
we ever see it again. I don't know if we will.
Yeah.
I don't know when we will. At this point, just do what you got to do. Do what you got to do with it. The Game Pass games for August have been announced, or at the very least, the first wave of them. Ghost Recon Wildlands is coming to cloud console PC. Shenzhen IO is on PC. Turbo Golf Racing, cloud PC, and Series X and S only. 2 Point Campus coming to cloud console PC on August 9th. Cooking Simulator, cloud console PC on the 11th. Expeditions Rome is coming to PC on the 11th, and so is Off-World Trading Company, the 11th on PC. Fine set of games. Wildlands, I think, is the highlight of the month there so far.
Yeah. I've actually seen a lot of people interested in Turbo Golf Racing though.
I think I've heard a bit of talk about it. It's like what, like a basically a golf version of Rocket League, kind of what I've heard.
Kind of, yeah.
Maybe I'll give it a look. Give it a look, try it out. We'll see.
Yeah.
I got to go back on my Xbox, play some stuff on there. It's been a while. We were talking about Tencent a lot today. Tencent and Logitech are partnering on a new cloud streaming handheld. It's supposed to release this year and will support multiple different cloud streaming services, including Xbox Cloud Gaming and NVIDIA GeForce Now. Interesting. No pictures of it have been released. It's just a thing that's in the works.
Yeah.
Meet Your Maker is the next game from Dead by Daylight developer Behavior Interactive. As IGN describes it, Meet Your Maker, quote, revolves around an asymmetrical PvP experience where players create maze-like levels called outposts that other players must then work to infiltrate, end quote. Seems interesting. Seems really player-driven, creative-driven and all like that. So could be cool. Could be neat. Diablo Immortal player Jatis All Business spent $100,000 on the game in microtransactions, and in the process made his character so strong that he is not able to matchmake with other players for PvP. He literally paid to win and cannot PvP with anyone now, because when he goes to matchmake, it takes so long. It's like 48 to 72 hours, he said, and then it just doesn't work. Because he ended up winning so many matches that his wins are like in the hundreds and hundreds, and he has only like a few losses. So his like matchmaking rank, it's too good to match him with anybody.
Yeah, I can just imagine Bobby Kotick going up and like be like, thank you very much, thank you so much.
Like, we love the money, thank you. You can't play it anymore, but thank you so much for the money. We appreciate it.
$100,000.
Well, you got money and you just,
I was gonna say, like,
blow it however you want.
If you got the money and that's where you want to spend it on, all the more power to you. But $100,000 on Diablo Immortal.
Talking about disposable income. I wish I had that type of disposable income.
Yeah.
The things I would do with $100,000. Oh my God.
Yeah, exactly.
Would do so much with it. Xbox has started rolling out their Game Pass family plan to Xbox insiders for users in Colombia and Ireland. So we'll see how it rolls out more and more and more as the year goes on. Riot's League of Legends fighting game, codenamed Project L, has been confirmed to be free to play. So that's cool there.
Doesn't surprise me in the slightest. Every one of Riot's game is free to play.
Doesn't surprise me much either, but got the confirmation now.
Yeah.
And last but not least, a World of Warcraft mobile game has been canceled by Blizzard, according to Bloomberg. This is due to a dispute between Activision Blizzard and Chinese publisher NetEase over finances. Though Activision Blizzard is like, no, it's not over finances. Not at all. No, we still got a great relationship with them. Apparently, the game was set to be a spinoff set in the World of Warcraft universe, but during a different time period. Could have been cool, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, sure.
Those are all of our brief mentions this week. So now, we're going to do something a little fun. We're going to do something fun today.
Yeah, the time for Keiran to embarrass himself section.
Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. So, we're going to play a game. I'm calling it Just Guess the Game Review. Now, this game, here's how it's going to work. I went around the internet and I got the last, like the summary type paragraph from a bunch of different reviews. What Keiran has to do, I'm going to read the summary paragraph. He has to guess what game the review is talking about. Now, I got this idea from Easy Allies. They kind of play games similar to this every now and then with their own reviews, where like they read like the summary paragraph of the review and they just have to guess who on their team wrote the review. So we're doing a little bit different here, but I just want to give credit where credit is due. I have, how many do I have here? I have 20 games here. We're not going to do all 20.
Okay.
We're not going to do all 20. I'm thinking we'll do at least 10. At least 10. I think this is going to be fun. This is going to be a good one. Are you ready, Keiran?
Yep, sure. Hit me.
I will say also, for these reviews, I'm not going to say certain keywords in the paragraph that might give away what the game is.
Yeah.
Okay. Just to make it fair. Some of them I've left words in that will help you, but other ones I've removed like the name of the game or like a location because it'll be very obvious what it is.
Yeah, I was going to say you'll be reading one of like in God of War 2018. You play
exactly. All right, we'll start with, and also I should say, none of these games every one of these games was released after 2010.
Okay.
And I've tried to pick games that you either A, know of, or B, played.
Okay.
So that, I wasn't going to go out here and pick like
Super Monkey Island 3.
Exactly. Well, yeah, Super Monkey Island 3 or like Ape Escape 1. Like I'm trying to pick, don't want to make it crazy difficult. Want to be reasonable here.
Yeah.
So, are you ready?
Yep. Okay.
This is good. I wonder how many you're going to get right. We'll start with the first one I have here on my list. So I'm going to say I'll read the review and then I'll read what the score was for it. Okay. Blank preserves the best parts of the franchise while also making numerous much needed improvements to areas like narrative and class skill design. Additional visual customization options would make it better, and the occasional technical issues take away from the experience. But overall, this is an excellent shooter no one even remotely curious should overlook. Prepare to level, prepare to loot, prepare to get lost in the hilarious, bizarre, and wonderful world of Blank. This game got a 9 out of 10.
Borderlands 2.
Bam! Right on the money.
Yeah,
right on the money. Anthony Gallegos from IGN. 9 out of 10.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking because I'm like, I've read that review. It got a 9 out of 10, and that sounds familiar.
Okay. You know what? Maybe I won't read the score until I'll tell you after you guess. Maybe I'll say the score.
Honestly, that's probably the only one I would get.
We'll see about number 2 then. I was gonna bounce around, but I want to do number 2 now just because you said that.
Okay. Oh no.
Actually, you know what? I'll do number 3 on this list. Number 3 here. That finality could signal that this is the last Blank game, a farewell to the fantastical world and memorable characters that made Blank such a standout developer from its very first effort. If that is the case, you could hardly ask for a better send-off. Blank is a remarkable synthesis of artful design and beautiful moments.
Ori and the Will of the Wisps.
Yes. 8 out of 10. Steve watched from GameSpot.
Do better than I thought, at least.
Look at that. You know, I'm picking something that I think you have a good chance at. All right. I'm gonna skip around on this. All right. Let's see if you get this one. Oh, actually, hold on. I want to highlight the ones that I've done. That way I know that they're done. And I'm not repeating any. Highlight this green because you got it right. If you get it wrong, I'm gonna highlight it red. That way I can also keep track of corrected wrong.
Be prepared for the rest of them to be red.
We'll see about that. I think you have a good chance with a lot of these. Give yourself some credit. All right, we're gonna do this one now. You might summarize Blank by the way in which it wraps up its story. Once the final hackneyed closing scene finishes, Blank members are awarded the same weapon. Actually, I'm gonna reread that. Once the final hackneyed closing scene finishes, group members are awarded the same weapon, regardless of class, and a handful of currency. This reminder of how wholly unspecial you are is the big finale of a lavishly produced but troubled game that excels in the basics but lacks creativity and heart. It is role-playing grind in shooter form, an empty house built on a firm foundation. You got this. You
I
got this.
honestly. Okay, so hang on. So RPG.
You want me? I'll read it. You want me to read it again?
Yes, please.
All right. You might summarize Blank by the way in which it wraps up its story. Once the final hackneyed closing scene finishes, group members are awarded the same weapon, regardless of class, and a handful of currency. This reminder of how wholly unspecial you are is the big finale of a lavishly produced but troubled game that excels in the basics but lacks creativity and heart. It is a role playing grind in shooter form, an empty house built on a firm foundation.
Outriders.
No, but you have the right
Okay.
mindset in terms of what type of game this is.
Okay. Um.
It's older
Other.
than Outriders.
Okay. Older than Outriders.
Older than Outriders, a PS4, Xbox One game.
So a co-op shooter that has classes older and is older than Outriders.
And when I should say when I said group members, they use a different word that's not group, but I changed that word because it would give away what the game was.
Okay. Is it within the last 5 years? No, wait, no, you said PS4, so the game I'm thinking of wouldn't matter. Well, actually, hang on.
Let's see. I wonder what you're thinking. What are you thinking right now?
I'm thinking Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance.
No.
Okay. Can I get a hint?
The game got a 6 out of 10.
That doesn't help me.
This was a very mixed reception game when it first came out too. That is not the score people would give it today, though.
Okay. Lower or higher?
People would give it higher.
Okay.
Not this one specifically, but they would give the series higher.
Fallout 76?
Dear God, no.
No? Okay.
Fallout 76 was not mixed in any way, shape, or form. That was all negative.
I'm honestly struggling with this one.
I'll give you one more hint. This game is still going on today.
Okay, still going on today.
Still going on today. Not this specific one. This is a game that has evolved over time, and the later versions still going on today.
Not Destiny, is it?
Destiny. Which Destiny is it though?
2.
No.
1.
Destiny 1, the original Destiny.
I had a 50-50 shot.
Yeah. When I said group members, they said fire team members.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah. Okay.
If I said fire team, you would have.
Yeah, I would have instantly got that.
All right, there you go. You got it. You got it there eventually. Not bad. Give yourself credit. All right. This. Let's see. Let's do this one here. Blank is an enormous and densely packed samurai adventure that often left me completely awestruck with both its visual spectacle and excellent combat. You should get this easily.
Yeah.
By steadily introducing new abilities instead of stat upgrades, its swordplay manages to stay challenging, rewarding, and fun throughout the entire 40 to 50 hours that it took me to beat the campaign. A few aspects are surprisingly lacking in polish in comparison to other Blank games, especially when it comes to enemy AI and the stealth part of its stealth action split. Still, this is an extraordinary open-world action-adventure game that solves several issues that have long gone unaddressed in the genre, while also just being an all-around Blank slashing good time.
Did I get a 9 out of 10?
This did get a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, it's Ghost of Tsushima.
Ghost of Tsushima, Mitchell Saltzman over at IGN with the review. Yeah, I thought about leaving out the samurai word in Samurai Adventure, but I was like, I'll leave that in there. I'll leave it in there. I was like, I think that's a bit too much of a giveaway, but I was like, I'll leave it in. Why not? All right. Let's see. Let's do this one. I want to see if you'll get this. When I'm riding chocobos across the beach at dusk with my 3 friends and hunting iconic Final Fantasy monsters in a huge, picturesque open world, Blank feels like nearly everything I could want from a modern Final Fantasy. But when it funnels me into linear scenarios and drab, constricted spaces that plunge the simplistic combat into chaos, my blood boils a bit. There is so much good here, so much heart, especially in the relationships between the main characters. It just comes with some changes and compromises that were at times difficult for this longtime Final Fantasy fan to come to grips with.
Final Fantasy 15.
Yes, 8.2 out of 10 from Vincent Genito at IGN. I was like, I thought about taking out the Chocobos part in the final and every other Final Fantasy reference, but I was like, that doesn't say what this specific game is though. So
Yeah.
I'll keep those in to help narrow his his search for this game. All right, let's do this one. What the first blank did is well built. Whoa, sorry. What the first blank did is, oh, I'm messing this. I'm skipping a word here, and I shouldn't be. What the first blank did well is still built into the sequel's barnacle encrusted DNA. And now it's on a system that you can stuff in your bag or play on the couch. It's baffling that Blank's best feature is held back by a frustrating lack of proper online support, and in many new ways, it's the same game with some new tricks. But there are still enough imaginative additions for anyone who played the first game to death, especially via its strange, captivating supporting cast. It may be much more of the same, but the same is still pretty fresh.
So is it like a sea-themed game?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm surprised you didn't get this right after the first sentence.
So, hang on. So it's sea-themed. It's a sequel.
I say sea themed lightly. Like it doesn't take place in the sea, but there are sea related things in this game. Sure.
Oh, okay. Because my immediate thought until you said sequel was Sea of Thieves because of like barnacle encrusted.
I'm surprised you thought that after they also say here it's on a system you can stuff in your bag or play on the couch. Like I thought that was going to be the dead giveaway.
Is it Wind Waker?
Wind Waker is not on the Switch.
Oh yeah. Okay, so hang on. Okay, so it's but on the Switch was kind of a giveaway because it's
a system you can stuff in your bag or play on the couch.
Hang on, read me the review again.
What the first blank did well is still built into the sequel's barnacle encrusted DNA. And now it's on a system that you can stuff in your bag or play on the couch. It's baffling that Blank's best feature is held back by a frustrating lack of proper online support, and in many ways, it's the same game with some new tricks. But there are still enough imaginative additions for anyone who played the first game to death, especially via its strange, captivating supporting cast. It may be much more of the same, but the same is still pretty fresh.
Oh, Animal Crossing, is it?
It's not Animal Crossing.
No. Okay.
This game had its first entry on the Wii U.
Okay. It's a Wii U game that has a sequel on the Switch.
This is the sequel. It starts the series started on the Wii U. This is the second one. A third one is coming out.
Splatoon 2.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I thought Splatoon, but then I was like, but how does that tie into like sea elements?
They're squidlings and they're octolings in the game and all.
Yes, never mind. Okay.
That's why I said like it's like there is not in the sea, but I guess there are sea related things in it.
Yeah. Okay.
Chelsea Stark over at Polygon gives it an 8 out of 10. We're gonna bounce on up to this one here. There's a tinge of disappointment here with Modern Warfare. All right, never mind.
Okay. I wonder what that could be.
It's Modern Warfare 2019. It was a mixed review from Wesley Yin Poole at Eurogamer. I'm gonna mark this yellow because I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. I was like, oh yeah, this tinge of disappointment was in my head. I said blank, but I just read out Modern Warfare. I was like, I'm an idiot. Such an idiot. And I really wonder if you would have got this one too. I think you might have gotten it. You want me to read to you anyway?
Yeah. Read it to
I'll
me
read it with the
saying
blanks.
Modern Warfare.
So it said that there's a tender disappointment here with blank at launch. I'm playing it in the hope that what is soon to come will pull all the right levers in all the right directions, turning this good blank into a great one. And there's plenty waiting in the wings. Blank's Battle Pass, which Blank has said will come in free and premium forms, will hopefully fuel progression in a post Blank world. More better fitting multiplayer maps are essential. And then there's the inevitable Battle Royale. Undoubtedly, there's an exciting potential to Blank. Until that potential is realized, though, Blank remains a shooter that is at odds with itself. When it's good, it's great. When it's bad, it's frustrating. Everything in between is, well, Blank.
See, I probably would have said Call of Duty. I don't know if I would have specifically said Modern Warfare.
Yeah. Some of the blanks were, aside from Modern Warfare as blanks, I also had Call of Duty highlighted, Activision, Prestige, because those would have given it away for you if I didn't just straight up. Man, let's not make that mistake again with this one here. The silver lining, of course, is other people. Blank is not a subtle game. The mechanics are the message. Build connections, use those to literally span divides, even as the story swells to a convoluted chaos that would make Metal Gear Solid 4's monstrous cannon welding blush. Blank's most fundamental point is not hard to understand. Yes, this is hell. Yes, we are falling apart. Yes, this might be the end, but there is redemption in other people.
I don't know why, but I want to say A Way Out.
No.
I didn't think so. It's not a Life is Strange game, is it?
It is not Life is Strange game.
Okay.
You are way off base.
Oh, okay.
Way off base. If you want a hint, this is a PlayStation game. I left a key. I left something in here to help you narrow your thoughts. I'll read this again. The silver lining, of course, is other people. Blank is not a subtle game. The mechanics are the message. Build connections, use those to literally span divides. Even as the story swells to a convoluted chaos that would make Metal Gear Solid 4's monstrous cannon welding blush. Blank's most fundamental point is not hard to understand. Yes, this is hell. Yes, we are falling apart. Yes, this might be the end, but there is redemption in other people.
No, I'm not getting it.
This was Death Stranding. Hello, Alexandra.
Okay.
Kotaku. Kotaku doesn't give scores. I believe this was a mixed review though.
Okay.
I left Metal Gear Solid 4 in there as like to help you think Kojima game.
Yeah.
And I was also hoping, the mechanic, I was hoping the first few lines would help you think Death Stranding. The silver lining, other people, it's not a subtle game, mechanics of the message, build connections, use those to span divides. Like those are all key elements of Death Stranding there.
Yeah, when you said use them to like bridge divides or whatever, I was like, bridge constructor.
Oh God. All right, we'll do a few more.
Okay.
Try as I might, I cannot find fault in Blank. It's even created a calm in me that no other similar game has. Loss isn't a frustrating experience met with loud swear words and the sounds of scrambling feet made by my previously sleeping sleeping cats. Failure is just another step on a long adventure with one of my favorite games, years in the making and well worth the wait. This one's a bit more vague. But this is the game that you really like.
No, is it Breath of the Wild?
That's not it.
Okay.
I didn't even know you really liked Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, I mean, I like it to an extent, sure.
Not on the level of this one.
Firewatch?
No.
No.
I didn't realize Firewatch was a game that, bucked the trend of loss being frustrating.
Read me it again.
Try as I might, I cannot find fault in Blank. It's even created a calm in me that no other similar game has. Loss is not a frustrating experience met with loud swear words and the sounds of scrambling feet made by my previously sleeping cats. Failure is just another step on a long adventure with one of my favorite games, years in the making, and well worth the wait.
And it's a game I really like.
Yes. Dare I say love?
Hades.
Yes.
Yeah,
Polygon
I thought so.
recommends. Ryan Gilliam over at Polygon. You got it. You got there eventually.
Yay.
Took a bit to get there. Let's see how many we've done. We've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We will do 2 more.
Okay.
Let's do. All right, I know which one we'll do. I know what the last 2 we're going to do. This one you should definitely get. Well, I would hope you'll get it. After the first line, I would hope it sells itself right away. Blank is not only a preposterously enjoyable video game, but also an intelligent and sharp-tongued satire of contemporary America. It represents a refinement of everything that Blank brought to the table 5 years ago. It's technically more accomplished in every conceivable way, but it's also tremendously ambitious in its own right. No other world in video games comes close to this in size or scope, and there is sharp intelligence behind its sense of humor and gift for mayhem. It tells a compelling, unpredictable, and provocative story without ever letting it get in the way of your own self-directed adventures through Blank. It is one of the very best video games ever made.
It's not the. I was going to say Fallout 4, but that's not what I think this is.
It's far from it.
Yeah.
Far from it. I'm amazed you didn't get this after the first sentence.
Yeah, you put too much pressure on me, man.
Come on. About it.
So one of the best worlds ever created. The Witcher.
One of the best
3.
video. No, one of the. Okay, I don't know if the Witcher 3 is in no way, shape, or form an intelligent and sharp-tongued satire of contemporary America.
Oh yeah, forgot about that part.
That's the key part that this whole thing hinges on.
Okay, so it's set in the States.
One of the best video games ever made.
Set in the States.
No other world in video games comes close to this in
Grand
size
Theft
or
Auto
scope.
5.
Thank you. Dear Lord, 10 out of 10 from Kevin McDonald at IGN.
Yeah.
So I said after the America thing, I was like, that's the giveaway.
Yeah,
that's the giveaway right there.
I'm mad at myself. I didn't get that like immediately.
I'm very disappointed in you. Very disappointed in you.
Me too.
All right, last
So
one.
all the viewers probably.
I mean, you got it eventually. You got it. All right, last one here. And I mean, you've only gotten one wrong, like straight up wrong yourself. That being Death Stranding.
Yeah.
All the others you've gotten to eventually. Last one here. Let's see if you get this one. I
don't like that smile on your face.
I hope you do. I hope you do. Blank is the latest in a line of great Blank exclusives. Though it may suffer from massive difficulty spikes and not being that adventurous, it's balanced out by exciting combat and a gorgeous world with a lot to explore. And that's all on top of the beautifully poignant story that's told throughout. One can only hope that this is the start of a new series for Blank, as this first installment has me eager for more.
Okay, so it's an exclusive.
It is an exclusive.
I'm guessing Xbox.
No.
No, okay.
This is a very recent game.
Very recent.
Very recent, as in like past 2 years.
Okay. So not Horizon Zero Dawn then. Okay, so PlayStation exclusive.
You're right.
Okay. PlayStation exclusive that's in the last 2 years. First in the franchise.
Uh-huh. Well, it's not a franchise yet. It could
be.
hope
first
that
in a
this-
potential franchise.
Yes.
The last 2 years. What have PlayStation released in the last 2 years?
Don't think just their first party studios.
Okay. Oh. Kena Bridge of Spirits.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know who did this one?
The review.
Yeah, I said you know who did the review.
No.
Me.
Oh,
8.5 out of 10.
okay. Well,
That's what I was saying. I would hope you
sure.
would get this. I hope you get this. I
Yeah.
wrote it. I wrote it, did the video and everything. You better get this one.
I watched it. Watched it once, but I watched it.
That's the thing. I was like, I wonder if he's gonna get this. I wonder if he watched it or read it, if he'll remember like that line, like that
Nope.
that paragraph there. No, you didn't. Fun game. I'm gonna keep the others I have here in this doc. If we do this again one day, we will do this again one day. That was fun.
Yeah, I actually quite enjoyed that game.
It's always fun testing you, seeing what you know and everything.
Yep, I'm still gonna get my own back. I still have those trivia questions that I had last week.
Oh yeah, sure. I thought about us doing it this week, but I was like, save that for when he's hosting.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap this up.
Take my sweet revenge.
We'll see. We'll see if you take your sweet revenge. Let's wrap this up with what we've been playing this week. I'll go very quickly because I don't have much to say about what I've been playing.
Yeah.
I've played a bit of Tales of Arise. I have finished the third realm. I am on my way to the fourth realm. The third realm story was really great, really impactful. Really enjoyed it a whole lot. So I'm still enjoying that game, still cracking away at it. I'm gonna play some Mario Kart this weekend because the new set of courses released. Didn't get a chance to play it before today was recording, but I'm very excited to get at that and do some stuff with that. Destiny 2, did play a bit of that this week. My light's like 1540 something, and with the power boost of the artifact and all. I did the preservation mission. It is not hard.
Okay.
It is not hard.
I disagree, but okay.
If anything, I got more so lost at the end because I was just like, where do I gotta go, fam?
Oh yeah,
I gotta
go.
You
don't get lost.
I was on the phone at the same time, but I was like, where am I going at all? It's not a hard mission at all. You probably had difficulty with it because you were underleveled. It's not hard if you were
wasn't
at level,
that much underleveled.
Hard. Here's the thing: if you are at level, it's not a hard mission at all. It's very easy. Like, yeah, let me not say very easy. It is appropriately challenging, but it's not like difficult by any means at all. Now, here's the thing. It's not a difficult mission. I don't like the mission though. It sucks.
Yeah, neither do I.
Apparently, it's actually the first part of the raid, but the what makes preservation so annoying and bad is that the first like 60-70% of it takes forever to do. When you are escorting the pier with the thingy, whatever it is, you escort it and you got to kill the enemies and then collect like the 9 things and take it back and then escort it again. And you have to do that like 6-7 times. It takes so long to do. It's tedious. It's so tedious. When I first time I did it, fine, cool, went through it fine. I went to do it again this week after the weekly reset. The day I went to do it, my internet crapped out on me twice. And both times it happened while I was doing that mission. The first time it happened when I was like at the second to last escort point. And the second time it happened, I had gotten into the pyramid and I was doing one of the fights in the pyramid. Internet crapped out again there. And for some reason, this mission does not checkpoint you if you get kicked out of it.
Yeah.
So I had to go right back to the beginning. And after it happened the second time, I restarted, took people to the beginning and said, I'm done. I was like, I've been trying to do this for like all night long at this point. Like, I'm not doing this. This is taking too long. This is too tedious. I will try this another day when my internet cooperates with me. I do not like that mission.
Yeah, like it was just kind of like one, like a little bit boring for me, but 2, I found it difficult. I wasn't that much under leveled. I was like 6 light levels below, and I have never had a problem with almost any other mission because I have been that close to the level.
It's not that bad. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. You were just under level. If you upped your level, I'm sure it would have been better. I'm sure it would have been easier.
Probably.
GG. Kick it. What have you been playing, Keiran?
Okay, so I have 2 things to talk about. I'll start with the game I played this week because I don't have like a huge amount to say about this. I started and finished Escape Academy.
What is Escape Academy?
Escape Academy is essentially you do a bunch of escape rooms. It's a video game where you play as somebody who like goes to an like. I'm not entirely sure how this game starts because I wasn't paying like 100% attention to it when I was starting it, but by the end I was like, this is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Essentially, you go to an escape room, and then you get recruited into the escape academy where you're trained on how to like do it. Well, I say trained, you're essentially thrown into a bunch of like progressively challenging escape rooms, and then at the end you graduate. It's not like I was going to record gameplay for this. I remembered, but I didn't because the like levels of this game revolve like around like solving puzzles and stuff like that. I didn't want to because I didn't want to spoil the game for anyone who could potentially play it, because any gameplay I would have gotten would have been like, here's the answer to this puzzle.
Well, I mean, it's still like the first level or something.
Yeah, but by that, okay, I didn't remember at that point, but later on I was like, I can record gameplay for it. It's fine, doesn't matter. But so it gets progressively more challenging as you go through. It'll be like the first few are like 1 key of difficulty, and then it goes up to 5 keys. It's not an overly challenging game. I beat it, I want to say like 90% without having to like look up how to do something. I think I only had to look up how to do something once in the last level. Other than that, like don't get me wrong, there were certain puzzles where I was sitting thinking about it and scratching my head for ages, but most of it was actually fairly okay. Like most of it is actually kind of intuitive. Only took me like 4 hours to beat. It's really not that long. I think there's like 10 levels total, maybe.
Yeah.
And like the one kind of like plot twist, because there's a plot to this game. It's not just playing through escape rooms. But like the one kind of like plot twist to this game is kind of obvious. Like if you play through it, you'll be like, that's sus. So yeah, it's a good game. I would probably give it like, if I was to review, I'd probably give it like a 7.5. Like it's good to like kill time. Like I was gonna say it's good to like turn your brain off and just play, but like you have to actively think about solving the puzzles. So not really, but yeah, good game. It won't take you that long to beat. It's on Game Pass, which is why I played it. So
okay,
yeah, I'd give it a shot if you just want something nice and short to play.
Okay, cool. Maybe I'll keep an eye out for it.
Yeah.
Although I have a number of other games in my games list. I mean,
Yeah.
Game Pass backlog that I need to get through and all. And you guys, I think it's funny. The other like a few weeks ago, you're like, yeah, now I'm done school. I can work through my backlog by adding new games to the backlog instead.
Yeah, that's what a backlog is, isn't it? Isn't it just a progressively growing thing that you like work through as you can?
Ah, boy, what's up with this other thing on your list here?
Okay, I finished Halo, the show, not the game. So last week I had watched the first 2 episodes. I said the first 3, but I had watched the first 2. It's an 8-episode season on Paramount Plus. If I gave
I'm gonna need you to say that again one time for me, just because you froze and then super sped up. Okay. So you said you finished watching Halo and then
finished watching Halo. Last week I had said I was on episode 3. I was actually on episode 2. It's an 8-episode season on Paramount Plus, which if you have seen my like thoughts on it on Twitter, you will know I didn't love. Like it wasn't terrible, right? If you are a like diehard fan of Halo, or you are interested in Halo to an extent that is more than just like a general interest, then I would say it's at least worth a watch, right? But it wasn't great. Because the weird thing is, if you asked me to review episodes 1 to 6, I probably would have given it like a 6.5, maybe a 7. If you want me to review the season of it as a whole, I would probably give it like maybe a 4.5 or a 5.
Man, the last 2 really tank things.
Yeah. So, okay. Do you care if I spoil Halo?
Not particularly, but go ahead.
I mean, okay. I'm a way to essentially explain the plot and the like reveals during the season. So if you haven't watched Halo, if you want to watch it, tune off now. But
yeah, I know of certain things that happen in the show just because of Twitter and everything.
Okay, so essentially the plot of Halo is you get introduced to Master Chief, and you find this like what they call a Covenant relic, but it's actually Forerunner because it leads you to a Halo ring. So Master Chief finds this artifact and he can interface with it and nobody else can because he's what the Covenant call a Blessed One, which is somebody who can interface with these artifacts. The Covenant have their own Blessed One, who was a child they kidnapped at a young age and had raised on the Covenant homeworld, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Her name is McKee. So about halfway through the season, McKee leaves the Covenant homeworld, or Covenant High Command, I think is where she's at actually, to go and find this other artifact and bring back the demon's head, which for anyone who knows Halo, the demon is what the Covenant call Master Chief. So my first problem with the last episode is that because McKee and John, or Master Chief, are both Blessed Ones, they gave Master Chief a love interest. And
I
hate
heard about that. And people were like, why? No.
Okay, it's like, I get that they're connected and I get that they're special. There's one character who is Halsey's daughter in the show who calls them like they're 2 in a billion, right?
Yeah.
But that's not an excuse to be like, yeah, let's make them bang and fall in love, right? Like that's not, I cannot express to you in words how much that annoyed me, because I'm like, in no point through any of the previous, like, what, 5 or 6 Halo games that I've played, did I ever need Master Chief to have a love interest. That's not why I play the games. That's not why I watch the show. It also really doesn't make sense. Master Chief is a fairly untrusting person, I would argue, right? Like in any situation, he's like, hey, I don't trust that thing. But a few days, it seems like, because the timeline really isn't clear in the show, but a few days after meeting McKee is like the whole time, because she's there to essentially like infiltrate the UNSC and bring back this Forerunner artifact so that the Covenant have both of them, because there's 2. A few days after Master Chief meets this McKee, and the entire time McKee is like, hey, maybe bring me to the artifact and I can unlock its potential. A few days after meeting her, Master Chief's like, yeah, that seems like a great idea. I'm like, what? Like, Master Chief is an inherently untrusting person, and you're telling me after a few days of doing this person, he trusts her completely to the point that he would let her, 1, have access to this Forerunner artifact, but 2, let her interface with it? That doesn't make any sense. It also then doesn't, to add on to the nonsensicalness of this situation, they know, like, this woman has told them, I've been held prisoner by the Covenant for the last, like, 30 years or however old she is. Like, you know the Covenant are after this other piece of the artifact. You know that the government would probably do anything to get it. So why would you not assume that this person who has lived among the Covenant and been exposed to their ideals and ideologies and their wants and everything, why would you not assume that that person is there to steal the thing that you have?
Sounds a mess.
Like, it doesn't make any sense. I will say there is one sequence in it where I was like, that's like actually badass, is where essentially they find this second Forerunner artifact on John's home planet, because they go back to his home planet and it's discovered that Halsey kidnapped him for the Spartan program, like from his parents, blah blah blah. And side note, Halsey's more evil than I thought Halsey is not a nice person.
Oh yeah, she's never been a nice person.
Yeah, no, like I knew
you just don't really get that in the games, but the books they say that she's bad. She's bad.
Yeah. But yeah, so they go back to Master Chief's homeworld. They get this second artifact, and there is a scene where the Covenant come in to try and get it, and there's like a massive like battle between the UNSC and the Covenant and all, and like it is really awesome to watch. It's like I've watched this in game form for so long. It's really awesome to see this played out in like a live action CGI kind of setting. The other those are essentially my problems with I still have one major problem, I'll say that to the end, with the last episode. My problem with episode 7 out of 8 is that there is like a sub story, a B storyline in this where the girl, I talked about this last week, the girl that Master Chief saves from the Covenant attack in episode 1, her name is
I know who you're talking about. Don't know her name, but I know who you're talking about.
Quaha, something like that.
Some along those lines. I know who you're
yeah.
talking about, though.
Yeah, from the planet Madrigal. My main problem with that is like I just didn't care about that storyline at all. Like
That's
I'm
what
here
many
to
people said.
yeah, like I'm here to watch Chief. I'm here to watch like the intricate workings of the UNSC and the Spartan program and how like the initial relationship between Cortana and Master Chief evolves. I just don't care about this girl's want to go back to her home planet and restart the rebellion against the person who is ruling that planet and the UNSC, blah, blah, blah. I just don't care. That was my problem. Like, because episode 7 is just that. Episode 7 is the resolution to that girl's story. And then episode 8 is the finale of like the actual Halo show is what I would call it. Where like if the show had been about that B plot from the start, right, and only about that, and it wasn't telling a story about Master Chief and Cortana and the UNSC, it was telling a story in the Halo universe, then I might have been a little more open to it. But honestly, I just didn't care.
Yeah, it just took away attention.
Yeah, that's my problem with episode 7. And then the ending. The ending was honestly one of the worst I have ever seen.
Oh boy.
So essentially, it ends by McKee getting her hand on the Forerunner artifact. And like it's in like episode 4 or 5, when she is initially sent out to retrieve it, she comes across the UNSC Gladius, kills everyone on that ship, and then radios using a UNSC radio the Covenant Corvette that she was taken from onto the Gladius to essentially say, I'm coming back to the ship. And for the rest of the season, Halsey's daughter, Miranda, I think her name is essentially trying to like unscramble and decode this so they can hear who's talking. And in typical TV show fashion, they do it like as McKee is being escorted by Chief to get to the Foreigner artifact. That's when Miranda is like, I know, it's her. She's the one who did it. So they stop her just in time, but McKee ends up getting her hand on the artifact. And whenever one of them touches it, or McKee and Master Chief, whenever one of them touches it, it affects both of them. So McKee touches it, John also then passes out or goes into a trance or something, and it essentially like mentally transports them to the ring. But because McKee has been found out by the UNSC and they're essentially punishing her and they're gonna like keep her prisoner, whatever, she essentially just holds the artifact. That her and Chief are on the ring. This is all happening at the same time that Halsey has initiated, like it's like Protocol Z or something, where essentially like all orders now can only come from Halsey for all of Silver Team because Chief has been compromised by the artifact, blah, blah, blah. So there's just a massive fight scene between the rest of Silver Team and John. John gets like his ass kicked essentially, and then is transported to the ring. And it's essentially a 5-second thing that's just McKee saying goodbye, John, and then it cuts back to John. John passes out, and that's how season 1 ends. And I'm like, okay, but where is the resolution for most of your major plot point? Where is the resolution of like what happens when you put the two artifacts together? Or are we gonna eventually see or like discover what this ring is or anything like that? And I'm just like, I feel like this has just been like the first half of the season. Like the season's done. I just don't think that this has really tied up a lot of like the major plot point for me.
I see. I mean, it sounds like, you're I don't know if I'd say standard, but it sounds like, it's typical TV show thing of, and we're going to leave a little crumbs for season 2. Like, just teasing like, all right, where is the show going to go from here? Where is season 2 going to go? How are things going to progress and evolve from here? That's what it sounds like.
Yeah,
not saying it sounds like it was executed all that well. And like, I'm not saying that the plot sounds like it makes all like that much sense and stuff. But I mean, it sounds like that's what they went for. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
No, 100%. But like the way that a season 2 is happening. It's been confirmed that Halo is getting a season 2.
That was announced before the show even aired.
Yeah, exactly. But like my main problem with it is most things, if you know you're doing a season 2, or you will probably do a season 2, you will leave it like a cliffhanger, right? And that's where you'll pick up from at the start of season 2. I just don't feel like this was much of a cliffhanger. There's no like, well, what's gonna happen? Or
Well, I
at least
mean, you just say it left off with him like passed out wherever the heck, and she has the thing. That's a cliffhanger enough. It's like, oh shoot, she has the thing, and he's passed out here. She left him.
No, well, the artifact is still with the UNSC. She just is touching it. Like there's still like 4 other UNSC people in the room with her, so like she hasn't escaped with it. We know that John is just on the floor, passed out somewhere in a UNSC base after losing a fight with the rest of the Silver Team. Like, to me, it just doesn't seem like there's much of a like. And keep watching for season 2.
Interesting.
I don't know. I just like, again, it was fine in places, but overall, I wouldn't really like. Again, I'm gonna watch the second season, but there is no way I'm ever watching season 1 again.
I mean, there's no way I'm getting Paramount Plus to watch any of this.
Yeah.
So no loss on my part, tell you that much.
Yeah. So yeah, again, fine-ish show.
Sorry I disappointed you.
Yeah, just like I say, like I was actually kind of enjoying it up until the last 2 episodes, and I was just like, these have kind of just tanked the season for me.
It's a shame.
Yeah.
It's another shame. Utter shame indeed. Well, with all that said about the Halo show and everything else we talked about this week, it's going to wrap up episode 70 of the Play to Win podcast. Thank you all so much for watching and or listening to the show. If you are on YouTube, again, remember to like, comment, and share the show and subscribe as well. Hit the notification bell if you are on YouTube. If you are on some podcast services, leave us a subscription and a 5-star review. Both of those really helpful, and it's all super, super duper appreciated. Yep. Let us know what you all think about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Did that new trailer that we saw, the new footage we saw, did that get you more excited for the game? Did that get you more interested in the game or less interested in the game? Do you think Koraidon looks pretty stupid running on its hands and feet when it has 2 wheels? What are the point of the wheels if you're not going to use them, buddy? What do you think? Let me know. Let us know. So yeah, do all those things. Talk to us. We love to hear it. We love to hear it. We love to talk to you guys.
Yep.
Keiran. Oh, also before I say that, follow us over on Twitter and Instagram at Play to Win Game for updates on the show. And please chat with us. You can let us know your thoughts on the game there as well. And on the Halo show too. Let us know if you were disappointed like Keiran or if you actually enjoy the show from start to finish. And check out our site, playtowingame.wordpress.com, because that is where you could see, all of our content. It's a nice home for our content. And you can read written reviews, written versions of our reviews. So if you want to, read a review that, we run the reviews up there. And, that way you could have it in your head for when we do another future version of this game. You'd be like, hey, why do I feel like I've read that before somewhere? Why do I feel like I heard that somewhere before? You'll have it in your head. You'll know. You'll be up on it. You never know. I might throw another one of my reviews in there.
Yeah,
I might just do that. Keiran, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Badlynet, BADLYNET, all one word. I don't tweet very often, but I did just do like a massive thread the other day on some like political stuff. So, if you're into that sort of stuff or gaming or whatever, go follow. Yeah, there were some really horrible comments made by the future Prime Minister of the UK about the leader of Scotland.
Ah, interesting. Gotcha. You were like, I hate you. Burn.
Yep, just, if you're Scottish, vote independence next year.
You heard him. You heard him, people. Do the thing. Do the thing. That's it.
Where can people find you?
Well, I was asking, that's it for you. Is that
yes. Is
that all you were going to say?
Yeah, that's it. I thought you were like, yeah, so that's it. See y'all later. I'm like, wait, but you didn't say where you can be found.
No, of course. I know I got to do that. I just wanted to make sure you were done before I went on mine. Okay, cool. So yeah, you can find me, your host this week, Tyler, over on Twitter at TylerMiller2496. I say it every week, but I talk about games, movies, and anime and stuff over there. My Hero Academia, the manga, woof, that's hitting hard. It's hitting hard. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to say any more because of spoilers, but man, it's hitting hard. And when it gets animated, this final arc is going to be killer. It's going to be crazy. So yeah, follow me over there. Talk to me about any of those things. And yeah, that's going to do it for us this week. Thank you all so very much for watching and or listening. And we will talk with you all next time. Have a great one.
See you later.